Hello, Internet, and welcome to my live reaction for Eden Zero, Chapter 116, I believe. Yep, 16. When we last left our heroes, Mora, the glue man, had confronted the gang. And while most of the crew was completely powerless to stop him, Shiki was able to, with his arms were left relatively unbound, so he was able to use his ether gear to uproot the tree he was bound to and slam it into Mora, which seemed to help him fight until he tried to land a punch on Mora, and Mora turned his entire body into glue, which Shiki has no way to stop right now. Just then, Mora's two companions, Britney and Orc, arrived. And meanwhile, up on the Eden Zero, Hermit realized that whatever virus Ziggy used to corrupt the bots of Foresta could very easily corrupt the Shining Stars. So yeah, all that being said, let's jump right on into Chapter 116, The Sky Sweeper. Our picture here is of Sister at a pool. She's in a one-piece swimsuit. She's got some kind of drink with her. It's just kind of a, beach day. I guess it kind of pairs with last chapter's witch cover. So maybe the next two chapters will be Hermit and Homura. Anyway, jumping right on in. We open where we left off with Shiki, as he sees Orc and Brittany's arrival. Orc still carrying this gigantic robot head. Mora grins down at it kind of deliriously. Brittany looks very nonplussed by the whole thing, and Orc has this kind of growl on. And Shiki just glares at the new arrivals as Homura pushes against the glue. "We must remove this quickly." Rebecca asks, if it's his ether gear, can't Pino's EMP do something? And Pino tells her, I can't. Glue is not electronic. And we see Pino is trying to, tear the glue off of the Happy Guns. Help me! And Weisz calls to Shiki. Shiki, use your gravity to rip it off of us. Oh, yeah. Would that work? I guess you could have the glue, use his gravity to make the glue come towards Shiki, but I feel like that would just make everything come towards Shiki. Anyway, Brittany watches on gravity, and Orc just lets out an and then he throws the giant head at Shiki. Rah! And Mora freaks out. Oi! But Shiki catches it, not without being, pushed back a good distance. Rah! Yeah! And he throws the head into the air. And Brittany looks on with her little scanner-looking thing, observing Shiki. To do that to an object of so much mass. Yes, indeed. And Orc responds, he is a gravity wielder, just like Shura. We still don't actually... That was a little bit of a high voice also for Orc, I think. Probably not going to keep that voice, but anyway. It does... We still have this continuing mystery of who exactly is Shura, and how does he connect to Shiki and seemingly Ziggy. But anyway, Shiki then points his ether gear at Weisz. And we see the glue start to come towards Shiki, as it does for Couchpo as well. Wow, Shiki! And with Homura and Rebecca as well, he's actually tearing the glue off. Nice! I don't entirely understand, like I said earlier, how he's doing that without impacting the crew themselves. But whatever, I'll allow it. It would not be the weirdest use of gravity we have seen on this channel, Fire Force. And Mora freaks out. No, you can't just pull glue off with gravity in it. But Shiki just kind of ignores him. Magimech attack. Gravity field! And we see this huge, ball of gravity shake the center of, with Shiki at the center, kind of around him. And it does start to pull Couchpo and Weisz towards it, including Homura and Rebecca as well. I am free, and it's tearing off my clothes, because of course City. I mean, I guess the glue could, if it were, pull some clothes with it, I guess. But we know why it's doing that, Mashima. We all know. It also pulls Pino and a reconstructed Happy to it. Wah! But the rest of the crew are mostly safe, as they all land on the ground in a bit of a pile. Mora freaks out. Seriously? And Weisz, like, starts ranting at Shiki. You jerk! My clothes are in shreds! That's not my fault. And then the two of them turn back to the women. All our clothes are in shreds. One thing I'm kind of not used to is normally most, like, thinking about to Natsu is never horny in the way that Shiki is. And so I always expect a kind of Natsu-style obliviousness to the fan service going on around him. And I'm always, for some reason, I'm always, no matter how often it happens, a little shocked that Shiki is not as openly horny as Weisz, but still just as horny as Weisz. And Homura, like, blushing but staring straight at them. Do not look at us. And Rebecca covers herself, and I'm still sticky too. And Couchpo, wow, Becky, no shortage of wardrobe malfunctions when I'm with you, is there? I guess, did this happen on Gilst? It probably did. A lot of things happened on Gilst. Anyway, just then Pino cuts in. Heat readings from above. And there are the drones that the Eden Zero has been fighting. And Shiki and Weisz both look up. Drones? And Orc also looks up. Oh yeah, we hadn't cleaned out the sky yet. And the Foresta drones, all of them with the word forest printed on the side with like 2 leaves, detecting multiple humans with high ether levels. Exterminate them. And all of the drones, like, just drop rockets on the crew. They're bomber drones! Everybody run! Wah! And, you know, a whole slew of explosions erupt around them. Presumably they're no longer at that spot anymore. But then we just see the sheer devastation the drones are bringing to the forest. Rebecca and Happy both kind of go flying. And Weisz, who's still on his feet. This is nuts! Homura is, like, bracing herself against the explosion. So much effort to exterminate humans? We see even more explosions, as Britney just says, Orc. I'm on it. And Orc jumps into the sky. We see a little bit of smoke coming from his metal arm. And he lands on one of the drones and, like, punches it. This chapter is titled The Sky Sweeper, and I did see that on the wiki, that's a mostly localized title, and that the wiki has, like, the romanization of the Japanese title, which is Shiki versus Oku, which is probably just a Japanese pronunciation of Orc, which does imply that Orc is the titular Sky Sweeper. So anyway, Orc punches a hole through the bottom of the drone and rips out a bunch of wires. I'm borrowing this. And it looks like he, like, equips it to his arm, activating Blast Man Arm. And from the top of one of the drones, he blows up another drone. And he starts shooting out more and more drones, like 5 or 6 in that one attack right there. And Shiki just looks on. That was awesome. But then he looks over and sees something is missing. Maybe it's Pino and Mora's gonna go kill her now? Oh no, he just sees that he's alone. Guys, are you okay? Hello? Guys? Where did you go? And we see the rest of the crew who are now alone amid the blazing forest. Have we been separated? And Weisz calls, Hey! Shiki! Rebecca! Homura! And Rebecca's on her phone trying to get a signal. What do I do now? My communicator is still not working. But she does see Happy and Pino, which is better than nothing. Happy, Pino, it's no use. I can't get a signal either. Same here. And Rebecca looks around. Where are they? And we see more destruction in the forest. And we see Weisz is with Couchpo, as he's trying to use his phone to get a signal to someone. Smudge and blazes. Pick up, blast it. Is that some kind of, like, 50-year-old curse? Smudge and blazes. Like, it's a little fitting for the flaming forest. But anyway, Couchpo calls to him. It's no use. I'm not seeing any food over here either. That's not what I'm worried about. But then gets a signal to Hermit. Weisz. And Weisz looks at her shocked. This is Hermit. Thank goodness I got through. And Hermit asks her, do you know where everybody is? No. There's strong radio interference covering that whole area. Anyway, can you get back to the ship? We have a bit of a problem. And Weisz incredulously, you want me to leave the others here? And Hermit counters, this is more serious right now. And Weisz asks, some emergency up there? And Couchpo, ever the one-track mind, are you out of food? There's a lot to be said about the one fat character in the series being obsessed with food. Nothing good. So, I've kind of not touched Couchpo, just because I don't want to, and I don't really want to. So, maybe we'll go deep into Couchpo at a later date. But for now, we're just gonna kind of let that be. Anyway, Hermit continues, we need your powers to stop this thing. Stop the mania affecting the planet before it gets to the shining stars. So now we're seeing the continuation of the cliffhanger from last week. And then we see Homura, who, of course, because I always forget this gag, is not good with the heat. Nevertheless, 'tis very hot. And we see she's sweating. She's not exactly... She's pretty scantily clad. Some of that might be... I feel like we've seen clothes melt in this series before, and it's kind of part of the vibe it gives off. But it's also just the tearing of the glue earlier. But also she's, like, covered in sweat. I shall try to find a place where there is no fire. And we see she's, like, staggering as she walks. I have always been unable to stand heat. Oh no, my consciousness is fading. And as she's, woozy, who should appear but Mora? That's rough, innit? Are we gonna have... This is not a good time for Homura to get into a fight right now. She cannot handle the heat. Maybe I'll stick you to a tree again and burn you at the stake. That sounds like fun, innit? Interestingly, this is, like, not related to Mora's mission. It might just be Mora's rage at, the group not thanking him back in 114. But, like, this seems... Like, if he's just... It seemed when he first showed up that he was just here to do the mission. But this is a particular targeted... he fought Shiki last chapter because Shiki got in the way of the fight, of killing Pino. Here, Homer is not protecting Pino right now. This is just Mora, out for blood on Team Shiki. Anyway, that sounds like fun, innit? Shaha! And Homer looks up at her, at him, I mean, grr. And we see, we still see the sweat on her. Which we don't see on Rebecca at the bottom of the page. Perhaps just because it's like, relevant for Homura. Given her not being well-equipped to deal with heat. While Rebecca is not. Speaking of Rebecca, her top is completely gone now. And she is now, using a bunch of leaves as a makeshift bra. This should do it. I have to look for the others. I don't remember, though, her top being in that bad a state last time we saw her. I'm looking on page 14. It's not in a great position. I don't know. I don't know enough about burnt clothes to know how, if this is a better workaround for it. Though I do fully expect that Majima has no idea what he's talking about on this topic. Anyway. And just then, Britney arrives. There will be no need for that. We see, while she's doing that, this might be a response to Rebecca tying up her hair, presumably to get it out of her eyes or something. But anyway, the important thing is that we see from Britney's leg, smoke starts to... It looks like it's coming from her. She might be a smoke person, the same way Mora is a glue person. And Rebecca asks, smoke? Because you will never be seeing your crew again. We also see smoke coming from Britney's mouth in that line. And then meanwhile, we also see Shiki. Where did everybody go? And he sees a drone above him that slams to the ground right in front of him with Orc on top of it, speaking of the Japanese title. And Orc tells him, sorry to keep you waiting, Gravity Wielder. And Shiki just glares him down as the chapter ends. Okay. So this chapter is mostly just there to set up either the rest of the arc or at least the next phase of the arc. It's a very kind of, especially for Shiki, Rebecca, and Homura, a very standard shonen battle practice. The group is separated. They each have one of the three antagonists to fight. And so the next part of the story will probably be dedicated to them dealing with that problem. I'm expecting the most interesting to be, just from the info we have, Homura's fight, just because she is not only does do I doubt she has a way to deal with Mora not exactly being a solid person, she also has the heat, which is a big handicap for Homura, who cannot handle heat. We might have a similar situation as Mora's powers with Britney's. We haven't really seen enough of Britney's powers to know, beyond the fact she seems to be a smoke person. But we don't exactly know how well, how defensive Britney's powers are. We do see, though, that perhaps there's a new application of Cat Leaper that could be in use. We also have both Happy and Pino with Rebecca, so Rebecca has her weapons, and maybe Pino's EMP pulse could be useful here, possibly. The least interesting of the three fights teased, I will say, looks to be Shiki and Orc, which isn't exactly a strike against it. It's just that while Mora and Britney, at least a little bit we see of Britney, have at least like vaguely unique powers, Orc seems to mostly be he can equip himself with mechanical weaponry, like he did with the drone earlier, which is only useful here with the drone that he has. So he's just going to have the same kind of arsenal we've already seen, which offers a much more standard fight than what the Mora and Britney fights are offering. But then beyond that, and the least typical shonen aspect of it is Weisz, who now has to get back to the Eden Zero before the virus affects the three shining stars there. And perhaps I'm honestly fairly certain now that they will get corrupted before Weisz can arrive. Just because if they don't, then Weisz is just this is just a roundabout way to get Weisz to leave the plot right now for a little while, which it might be. But if the Shining Stars are corrupted, that means that we could have fights for Weisz, for Laguna, for Jean, for Clean, and that could be a lot of fun, especially given how strong we know the Shining Stars are. And, rematches for Laguna and Witch, and, Clean fought Homura, so not a rematch there, but a Laguna-Witch rematch. If the stars get corrupted, I imagine Laguna and Weisz will fight Witch. But yeah, anyway, this really is just a bit of a transitionary chapter into the next section, which looks to be very, very exciting, and I am super pumped for it next week. So anyway, that's all I have to say for this video. Hope you all enjoyed the chapter and the video itself. If you did, feel free to drop me a like or subscribe, or, do whatever makes you happy, And remember, your life is your own, okay? Bye!